Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, James, the Fat Man Stevens, the American Original, Heather Charney, my sister, and Brianne.
Who doesn't get a cool nickname?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
What do you want the nickname to be? I can give you one.
I don't know, fucking chopped liver, apparently.
What's that, Brie Against Humanity? Take off of your favorite card game?
Sure.
That is a fun game.
All right.
I have some of them, not enough of them.
There's so many.
So, just to get over the way, Mr. Viagra Bob Doyle passed away today, or a couple of days ago.
Really?
He did?
He did.
Oh, Bob.
Which is weird because I was reading online that more people know him apparently for Viagra commercials, and he was a World War II hero, a congressman, future possible president, and then a spokesman for a pill.
I did not know he did Viagra stuff.
Did he really? For real?
I'm almost positive he did a Viagra.
Well, hard-ons are much more important than any of that other, crap.
I mean, they are vital to the survival of humanity.
That's right. Exactly.
Anyway.
So my favorite story of all time right now is there's an Iowa-class battleship. Think of the Missouri. That's the Iowa-class battleship. So this was the USS Wisconsin. And a Korean artillery battery hit the ship, the first time the ship ever took damage. And it has, I think they have eight or 16 guns. And so they turned all the guns on this little hill and fired at the same time, annihilating everything on the hill. And after it did it, one of the United States ship, drove by, and on the radio on the air it said "temper, temper," and drove right away.
Oh my gosh!
I thought that was hilarious. Just the fact that a battleship said, "You know what? Fuck you, you're gone."
Yeah, I do the same shit.
It threw a tantrum.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a tantrum, it's just defending yourself.
Yeah.
That's a full-blown battleship versus a couple of Koreans throwing artillery shells. I'm not quite sure if that's self-defense.
Yeah. They're throwing artillery shells at you. Those are projectiles that can hurt you.
They can, indeed.
So, why?
That's true. They're still
an issue with it.
They're still finding thousands and thousands of rounds of used artillery all over France and Germany from World War II.
Yeah.
Well, that's not surprising.
James and I know
No.
an older fella. I don't remember whose family member he was, but he talked about as a kid finding one of those German potato mashers and taking it home.
Potatoes.
Sounds really good.
Oh, man, I really miss potatoes.
Serious?
Baked
I'm
potato.
sure there's unexploded artillery all over Europe. They've found stuff in the past that just they buried and built over, and then they go to create new buildings and dig up bombs and crap.
It doesn't help that Europe has a tendency to get themselves in trouble. Usually it's all the Germans' faults.
I mean,
Or French.
yeah.
Yes, blame the French. Always.
Yeah.
Always blame the French.
We surrender.
My ex is French, so I have a legit right, of course, to blame the French.
James is how much French? You're a quarter?
A quarter, yeah.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Except he got the part.
That explains a lot.
Except he got the bitchy French. He got the French.
Aww.
When we were in France as much younger, we sat at a cafe and this little girl, she was probably 20, set down the water bottle and said, "Here's your water, stink!" And as she hit the table, water started squirting out of the top. It's like, gee, thank you for the rain.
That is a really stupid American story, John.
No, it's proving my point.
It's really, really stupid.
Take your water and go away.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because apparently it's universally true. You ask other Europeans, French are nice. Parisians are dicks.
Yeah,
I've asked other French that.
that's what I've heard. I just don't have any desire to go to France. Like, of all the places in Europe, that's just not on my list of places that I want to go.
There's some really beautiful architecture in France. And there also is the Louvre, which is incredible if you love art at all.
Would be cool.
But other than that, you're not missing much.
Mont Saint Michel was really cool.
Oh, Mont Saint Michel was, actually, that was freaking amazing.
Mont Saint Michel, how do you say it?
Mont Saint Michel.
It reminds me of like a storybook castle.
Yeah, and the tide will come in and you can't really get into it, and the only time you can actually go up to this whole area is when the tide goes out. It's just really neat.
I read later on that there's a lower parking lot, but they warn you they'll only park during certain hours, so you may not get your car back.
It's like they lock it. Or they might have people like steal it and sell it. That could be it.
Sounds like it's more because of the tide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's no access when the tide comes in.
I mean,
that's why they lock it.
I mean, it's not like parts of
Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Steal it right when the tide goes out.
It's not like
nature's lock.
It's not like parts of Sacramento that you leave your car and you go out to do something, you won't get it back.
Yeah, I'm in car broken into twice in Sacramento.
Well, but where in Sac? Sac's huge. I mean, where are we talking here?
I got my car stereo stolen from my driveway in Orangevale, so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They stole my mini butterfly knife that I had in high school.
Cars used to get broken into when I lived in Roseville, in one of the newer neighborhoods at the time. Cars would get broken into all the time, but every time they would actually catch somebody, it was always somebody from Sac. And they would come into the newer neighborhoods and just like steal everybody's car stereos.
Now, instead of taking the car stereos, they're going after the catalytic converters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Dustin have had nonstop issues with that out at the shop. That they have to leave cars parked outside. They get as many cars as they can inside, but all the shops over there, they're always having people hopping up from like they park. It's like they know where all the cameras are, so they park out like away, and then they walk in and sneak around and get as many as they can before somebody shows up, and it's ridiculous. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's awful.
The most amazing thing about that is how creative. I've seen like stories and pictures on the internet where these cars are slammed incredibly low to the ground. Like you may have a problem getting a jack underneath it, and somehow they managed to steal it. Like my first vehicle, you could have walked underneath and just took the catalytic converter off.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, oh, hey, this is nice.
Yeah. The truck was huge.
Oh, it was such a great car.
Yeah, that'd be really easy to get your just jack hooked to your car out, though.
Yeah. Yeah, getting, in and out of it would be an issue for me. Like, I can barely get in and out of Dustin's truck, and it's not even that high.
I was gonna say, I don't even think in my wheelchair I had that many issues getting in and out of your truck, son.
No, I think
that's pretty creative.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I don't think I ever rode in it, actually.
Huh.
Yeah.
I miss that truck. I do not miss the 7.5 miles per gallon it got, and not with $5 a gallon here in California.
Yeah.
So I found a product review I want to read because I sent it to somebody. I might have sent it to James, but I thought it was funny. It's like, this product is really good. I had to use it when a bear came at me. Unfortunately, I panicked and pointed the nozzle the wrong way and sprayed it directly in my face. Maybe it was the sight of a 280-pound man screaming and crying like a little girl, but the bear ran the opposite direction. All in all, good product. I would have liked to know how it worked on the actual bears, though.
So the product was bear spray?
Bear spray, yes.
Bear mate.
So pepper spray, basically.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a higher form of it, isn't it?
I don't think it's higher. I don't know. I have some. I'll have to test it on you sometime.
Nah, test it on James. I mean, if you're gonna do it right. James has a high level of pain tolerance. I don't.
Yeah. Now there's certain. I think there's certain. I don't know what you call the levels or whatever that you can actually buy from a store. And certain ones, like you can't buy like police grade pepper spray as just a civilian. So it's probably not quite that strong.
Couldn't you make your own with like, like scorpion pepper or whatever you call it, that super hot pepper that people can't eat without soiling
Carolina
themselves?
Reaper?
Yeah.
I mean, you probably wouldn't even eat anything that hot, really. You get some cayenne in your eyes and you're going to be crying.
Oh, yeah.
You get jalapeno juice in your eyes and you're going to be crying.
Mm-hmm.
I got black pepper in my eyes and it was like basically being like mace.
Ouch. I squirted jalapeno juice directly into my eye one time. I don't even know how I did it. I took a bite of the jalapeno and it squirted directly in my eye.
Oof.
Oh, God.
It was very painful.
I thought I had a ton of stories saved up, but I don't. So if you have a...
Well, Bree's on here, so I'm going to bring this one up.
Okay.
So a Taco Bell worker who's been a manager for 20 years just quit because he says customers have gotten unreasonable and hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And that I don't find a lot in the food industry. A lot of people are leaving because of this shit.
Never
I
mind.
haven't had too many issues at work, but I'm not a waiter and I don't have to deal with the customers very much.
I would say all service industry. I know when I worked at Walmart, there's been multiple times that I was threatened to be beat up, and a coworker, somebody threatened to shiv one of my coworkers.
Yeah, I mean, things have never been
prison
great,
Apparently.
right? Things have never been great as far as being in the service industry. I mean, it's been a really long time since I worked, food or retail or anything like that. But I mean, I definitely had customers make me cry. I've definitely had to threaten to call the police on people. I've had people smash their food into the counter. I mean, crazy stuff. But I mean, you look at anything going on in our society and people are just becoming more and more entitled, and workers are not putting up with it. And so the people that are willing to actually put up with it are generally the people who don't give a crap.
Yeah.
So it's just going to keep getting worse because they don't care. So they're not working very hard. Like my biggest issue that I have is everywhere I go, everybody's shorthanded. Nobody wants to work at these, menial, crappy jobs. They'd rather not work at all, which is kind of sad to begin with. But then you go in there and the people who are working, they have no sense of urgency. They'll just let the phone ring and ring and ring, and they'll stop what they're doing to answer it. It's like I used to take orders on the headset, make food and answer phones. And nobody seems to know how to multitask anymore at all. And the people, so there'll be a line out the door and people are just moving at a snail's pace. It's like, don't you want to get your lobby cleared? Don't you want to get the counter, get people on?
Well, a lot of what you're encountering is a lot of people that are overworked too.
For sure.
They're
And
working a lot of hours and covering shifts because you can't find any workers.
Or they're,
you just said, we're short staffed, so everyone's working a lot, and by the time you fucking right out the door, you're like, fuck this shit. I get that, but yeah, I still bust my ass and get it all done and get them all out of there because I want to go home at the end of the day.
Or I
just get frustrated.
Or I would add, you're one of the few people who are actually working your ass off because you have pride in what you do. I know for Walmart, by the way, not making crap for the Walmart workers. I totally understand why you do that as a former Walmart worker, but I had pride in what I did and how I do it. And just the fact there were people who were super lazy there just used to drive me absolutely batty. It's like, why are you here?
Yeah. I mean, I think as an adult, surly teenagers are what they are, but not every teenager has the crazy work ethic that I had as a teenager because a lot of the teenagers don't have to work, they get to work or whatever. But as an adult, you may not have the job that you want, but you got the job that you got and you should be doing it to the best of your ability. And the problem is there's not enough staffing right now to fire anybody for screwing up. It would take so much to get fired right now from a job because there's no one to replace you. Yeah. So people just don't have to make an effort. They don't have to try. They don't have to care. And I mean, that just seems to be the whole way our society is going. And I mean, I go out of my way to be as nice as I possibly can to anybody that I encounter when I'm out and about doing whatever it is that I need to do, and it's so weird to me. I go through a drive-through and they're grumble, and I'm thanks, have a nice day. Oh yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not getting paid to be nice, but you are. Like, I've actually gone through a drive-thru before and had the guy at the window not say a single word to me.
Wow.
It was the weirdest experience I've ever had. Not hi, not here's your food, not have a nice day. Like, literally just looked at me, handed me my stuff, and walked away.
So they could have
And
told.
it was so awkward.
They could have told you to fuck off. At least it was communicating.
I mean, they could have said something.
Wow.
It was so weird. I just couldn't even imagine. Like, we used to get reamed for not repeating people's orders in the drive-thru. Like, and there's times if I put in a big order, which, I mean, there's 3 of us. My order is not that big. Come on. But, like, if I go through Taco Bell, yeah, I might get, like, 9 things. Please just read it back to me so I know that you got it. Or if I, get something altered, no onions or blah, 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 or whatever. Like, read it back, confirm, because half the time it's wrong when I get up there. And I'm not going to go back in and fix it because it's just not worth it. But, yeah, I mean, like, we would get reamed if we didn't read back people's orders. And it takes 2 seconds to just read it back, make sure you got it right, rather than however long it takes to fix the problem later and pissing people off. And like, nobody cares. Even like managers won't even read back the order. It's like they do the absolute bare minimum. And I mean, I get it. You're a minimum wage employee, but there's a reason why, I guess.
Yeah, fair.
And I'm sure it's going to piss a lot of people off that I just said that, but if if you want a more than a minimum wage job, then you need to have more than a minimum wage attitude.
I mean, I've never worked in the food service industry.
It blows.
Amazingly. But I one job I'll never forget, just because it was one of the jobs that you don't screw with the people. Like, I worked at Hollywood Video for about 1.5 years. And I remember people throwing movies at me, which I always thought was funny. It's like, okay, I'm going to remember you. And then I used to give them bad, like, they'd ask for a movie, and I would purposely make them rent really shitty movies. It's like, if you're going to dick to me, you're going to be watching Altered States. Which I did.
It's like, did you want to rent Freddy Got Fingered again? Here you go.
Exactly. I did things like that to multiple people, and they went rent back to me. It's like, oh man, that movie I rented last week was so awful. It's like, that person didn't know what they were talking about. It's like, I next time I see said person, I'll let them know. It's like, I don't get it.
You should have them watch the 96 Crash movie with James Spader.
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh, God, you haven't seen Crash. How do you go?
No.
That one, Bree?
Sounds like it's okay that I didn't see that.
There's some movies like I watch nowadays just because it's like nostalgia cheese. It was a shitty movie then, and it's still a crappy movie, but now it's like I appreciate how shitty it is.
Yeah.
Like the original Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. It's
Yeah.
a very bad movie.
I know that was going to come up.
Oh, man.
He loves that one. The one with all the David Lynch's Dune.
I love David Lynch's Dune. I actually need to watch the original Dune. I have not had time to actually sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said, watch it with your son.
So I've done
a traumatic childhood.
I did a little reading just to see if I could do that, and apparently there's a nude scene in there. And the last thing I need to explain to an almost, the 4, almost 5-year-old is, it's like, Daddy, why is that? Never mind.
Yeah, that's okay. It's like, I watched Howard the Duck like some years back.
I love that movie.
And I remember watching that movie as a kid. And I'm watching this movie, and thank God I watched it before I watched it with Sienna. She's not seen it. Because I was like, I totally remember watching this as a kid, like I'll rent it and watch it. And then I looked at it, I was like, why? How? I was not allowed to watch anything as a kid. How did my parents ever let us watch that movie?
Who knew the whole movie was about foul sex?
Literally, and thank you for the pun. Yeah. It was so gross and like, what the hell?
And
I have it on Blu-ray. You want to watch it?
No. It's just funny going back and watching things that were okay before PG-13 was invented. Back when we were kids, there was no PG-13. There was PG and there was R. And so PG got away with a lot in the 80s.
Oh yeah, it was even before then too. I don't remember which one it was. It was an old Clint Eastwood spaghetti western that had like a almost full nude rape scene in it.
Yikes.
I think it was the Outlaw Josie Wales. Maybe it was that one.
Maybe.
And that one was rapey.
Well, or like Poltergeist.
What is that?
Poltergeist got a PG rating, which is why we all saw it and were scarred as children.
My other
It's funny, I
favorite.
actually read a whole article
got
about
a
that,
rated R.
about how hard they pushed for that PG rating. And so people were just dropping their kids off at the movies. Oh, it's PG, it's fine. And we have a whole generation of terrified people from watching Poltergeist.
The one that always amazed me was movies. I don't think it's just one of the guys, but it's other 80s movies where there's like full on nudity and it's supposed to be a kid's movie. And next thing you know, this chick's removing her shirt. And I remember
boobs everywhere.
As a kid, it's like, oh, cool. As an adult, I'm like, how the fuck did any adults let me watch this movie?
Dude, 16 Candles.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
16 Candles, and she goes in the locker room, and I don't know if there's full out boobs. I can't remember, but I feel like there are like full on like boobs in that movie.
Oh, I don't remember.
Like, because she's doesn't have any boobs, and so she goes in the locker room and she's like comparing herself to the popular girl who's 30 in reality, and I feel like it shows her full on boobs, but I don't remember entirely. But yeah, there's stuff like that. Like, they got away with some crap that you're like, ew.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Now I'm gonna
Give it a
look up,
PG rating.
now I'm looking up to see what this one movie I'm thinking it is, but I don't remember. Hold on one second.
Or Revenge of the Nerd.
Oh yeah, I love Revenge of the Nerds.
I loved that movie as a kid.
Dirty.
Yeah,
Girl
Wait, hold on, both you guys are breaking up.
on boob.
So the movie I was thinking of, just one of the guys, is PG-13, and it came out in '85.
I wonder if it's entirely possible that they changed some of the ratings at some point too. Let's see.
But I do agree. It seems like that type of stuff was more like okay, like nudity was okay, but violence wasn't as okay. Now it's the other way around. Like, nudity's no, but you can watch somebody be decapitated, get their head removed, and it's a PG movie.
Yeah, so I guess PG-13 was created in 1984.
Oh wow!
And Poltergeist was one of the reasons why, I believe. When was that made? 82?
God damn it, Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, 82.
I didn't see that movie till I was an adult.
So that was like one of the big things that got PG-13 created, according to some article I read some time ago. But what was I just going to say? I just completely drew a blank.
When did that start happening? I remember as a kid that my memory's never been good, but it was better than it is now. I'm practically a fucking goldfish.
Oh yeah, no, my memory has never been good, and it's only gotten worse, and it will only continue to get worse as I age until my Alzheimer's kicks in.
All those aluminum cans we smoked out of.
The funniest things.
Maybe.
The funniest the funniest thing is, like, if even with all like the stuff I've done, my memory's always been shit. It's just natural, like you said.
Yeah, well, and like that's a really big symptom of ADHD too, is like no short-term memory. And I swear, if my parents ever cared when I was younger, I probably would have been diagnosed pretty early on. Because I can't remember shit ever, can't pay attention ever. Like, finishing things is so hard. I gotta do like 5 things at once if I ever want to finish any one thing. But that was a big thing in dealing with, my daughter, and trying to like, why didn't you do the thing I asked you to do? Well, I forgot. It's like, I literally just told you 2 minutes ago, and instead of going to do the thing, you went and played video games. Like, what do you mean you forgot? I remember I used to get that when I was young all the time too. I forgot. Oh, what do you mean you forgot? I'm like, well, tell me to do something this morning before school and expect me to remember to do it after school. It's just not going to happen.
Right?
Yeah.
So now as I've gotten older, trying to remember what I walked into the other room for is like, just not even going to happen.
Like I write shit down. I've got so many notes on my phone. Like I constantly delete it going, why did I write this? Because it was a note I wrote 4 weeks to myself to do something. Like it's, if my phone's ever stolen, I'm going to be fucked.
Yeah, I've definitely put everything in my calendar now because I will totally forget to do things. It's with alarms, I have alarms on everything I'm supposed to do. I set an alarm or I forget.
Oh, I drive my wife nuts with my alarms. Hold on. Let's see how many alarms I actually have. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's all throughout the day. That's before I wake up. That's okay. Now you need to leave. You really need to leave. Okay, get the fuck out of the house. Then I have I have everything because otherwise I'll just space it. Like for work specifically, I've got an alarm to go to lunch, alarm to come back to lunch, alarm to go on break.
Yeah, I need to do more stuff around work. I need to start wearing my watch. That's my biggest issue. My schedule is so bizarre that
Hello? James, are you there? Bree? Hello? Wow. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some interesting technical issues.
Sorry about what? Bree and I are having our own conversation.
I know. We'll just have our own conversation.
Hey,
we'll go back to talking about books.
Hey, that's not fair. I'm here sitting alone in a freezing studio where you two are having a fun conversation.
Where's
your sister?
My sister was too cold, so she had to leave.
Oh, okay.
So
she disappeared a while ago. I hadn't heard from her in a while.
Yeah, so I'm the only person here wishing my tablet was working correctly. So I'm all by my lonesome.
Speaking of books, Bree, have you watched the Wheel of Time show on Amazon yet?
I watched the first episode. I'm only in the fourth book, and for some reason, it's just taken me I'm having a really hard time sitting down and reading it lately.
Okay. So I started reading the first book last year sometime.
Yeah.
And then I got distracted by a bunch of other books.
Yeah, me too.
And so
I read something in between them because they're such long books. So I'll read one book and then I'll read something short and then I'll read another book and then I'll read something short. And the last short book that I started reading ended up being crap and I didn't even finish it. And then I just haven't really been reading during the day as much. I sat down and read a chapter today. But yeah, I'm trying to, I hope they're only doing one book equals one season or something like that.
So I'm not too sure. Like I said, I was in the first book, and it seems like they're skipping around a bunch. Because I was 250 pages in, and I hadn't even gotten to where the last episode leaves off.
So
I'm still not even there.
I only watched the first episode, and I already started off with Karen has a wife or something.
Some chick they killed.
He was supposed to be, isn't he hopelessly awkward around girls in the first book?
Yeah.
Don't they mention that a lot?
See, I feel kind of bad because Jeff, our dearly departed former co-host, mentioned the book to me and how much he loved it, and I read the first 100 pages and just never read it ever again. Just because I had a hard time getting into it. I am into it now. Yeah. But initially, John, I think I've read more than John, but I'm about halfway through the book now, and I'm I'm starting to like it. But initially I was this is not grabbing my attention.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a slow start, and I feel like every book is a little bit of a slow start. And I read the first book many, many years ago. I'm talking 20 years ago. And then, but I was reading another series at the time that was a little too similar. And if I read them at the same time, I would get super lost. So I stopped reading those, and I finished reading what I was reading, and then I just never picked them back up. And then I've been wanting to read them, and I just haven't. So I went to the used bookstore. I picked up, they had like 1 through 4, and then they had like 7, 8, 9 or something like that. So I picked up 1 through 4, and when I went to go back to get more, the bookstore is gone. I was like, damn it. So I have to find them. I'm going to borrow them from one of my friends, but like they're good. The story's really good. It definitely drags at times, and they're such long books. They're really, really long.
So you know what's
the one I'm reading right now is like 700 and something pages, and that's just the first book.
Yeah.
And I hear it goes more. There's a few that are longer.
So
what are you reading now?
Hey, hold on, ad break.
No.
Are you all tired of things that drag on like books or even work? We got a perfect thing for you. Check out our sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Audacity. The game word dignity is overrated. Go to ODDASSITY.com. That's ODDASSITY.com. Pick up a card game from this website or selected stores. That's Audacity, the unforgettable party game for mischievous people. And do me a favor, this is special just to us. Get 10% off your final order. Use MadTrio, all caps, all one word for 10% off your final order at ODDSSITY.com. Ad break's over, y'all.
Dope.
Okay. So, anyways. Yeah, I hate that bookstores are shutting down. That's so disappointing.
It was a really cute little bookstore and made me really sad. There's still that huge one, Bookworm, over in Fair Oak. And they didn't have any of them when I went in there. I was like, wow, of all the things. And then, like, you go to, like, or some places will have like the newer editions. I'm like, I have the first 4 of like the original cover art and like the size and shape. They were at least like the same size. I could move on to a new edition, but it really bothers me when I have a set of books and they're all different sizes.
Like misshaped, and I get that.
I want to go get the old ones that are used that are the same.
eBay.
Yeah, sure. And if it comes down to it, that's probably where I'll go, although I haven't created a new eBay account since mine got taken over. I got so screwed when I was in the hospital for having my surgery. I like got on and looked at my email, and I had like 900 spam emails.
Oof.
And I got like a text from PayPal that was like, "Did you just buy this $400 computer from eBay?" I was like, no. So I got
give me my $400 now.
What?
I would say give me my $400 back.
I got it back. No, PayPal totally like did their fraud thing. The money never went anywhere. PayPal shut it down. Then they disconnected from the eBay account, and I was never able to get back into the eBay account.
Oh, okay.
I
might still have an eBay account. I don't know. I've been in there a long time.
I didn't start using it until I started collecting ancient Disney stuff, and now I'm on eBay all the time looking at things I want to get, which is ridiculous. Like all of a sudden, like I found a phone from one of the Disney resorts, like a room phone that I thought would be fun to have for just shits and giggles. And I realized, wait, what
this is? You need to get the ashtray.
Yeah. There was one I wanted, but literally did not get it in time. So there's the specific Disney ashtray that I want to find again. And the funniest thing is, I think what happened is some woman must have put it in her purse because half this shit's does not leave Disney.
It's so stolen from the resort.
I found a Disney cigar shop wrapper, like just the band that goes around the tip of the cigar, and something I was selling for like $50. It's like, I think that's clever, but unless there's a cigar that's attached to it.
Yeah, who the hell is going to buy a freaking thing for that much? I mean,
price things on eBay in very strange ways. And it's really hard to compare when you go to sell something. So it's like, well, is that the price it's selling for, or is that just the price they're asking?
Well, I have a Japanese samurai sword from World War II that I got for $1 on eBay. So
that's weird.
I mean, the shipping made up for the $1, but
that was the cheapest, most expensive sword in history.
Well, so that's how they get you on a lot of those things on eBay too. Is they're like, it's 99 cents, but shipping $14.95.
Oh, I wish it was $14.95.
Get this 99-cent shirt But you pay $14.95 in shipping.
So
But the quality of the shirt is still 99¢.
the thing
Well,
that's
it was $99 in shipping, Bree.
Well, no, I know. I was just using
So-
for example.
Disney stuff.
Because they like to price things at super, super cheap, but then they jack up the shipping costs. Like, you might as well
Exactly.
price the item for what it's worth to begin with and do low shipping, and it'll actually attract more people if you pay free shipping, even if the thing's expensive.
Disney stuff
Yeah.
is pretty evergreen. I don't know about some of the ephemera that I collect because I'm after odd shit that most people don't collect. However, I saw somebody collect a side of a broken rocking chair because it had a picture of Donald Duck. So maybe just Disney people are crazy.
Yes, Disney people are crazy.
But it is.
That's not in question.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I bought a map from Disneyland from 1968, 1969. That was $20, but then I framed it for 20 times what I paid for the fucking map.
Right.
No, my wife was pissed, but it was like, but honey, I could. It's like, wait, you paid what? How much? It's like, but it's okay. I'm sorry. But I love eBay. Like right now, I'm looking for a bunch of Hanna-Barbera stuff since I started paying for it so I could show my son. But now, since whoever was producing it actually stopped making it, so now some of the stuff's getting $50 to $60 for some of the shows I want.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. And it's funny too, because it's not like I get any time to watch this shit. Like I'm buying it just so at some point I may get a chance to watch it with my son. I mean, like the rest of my DVD collection, it's just collecting dust.
Yeah.
I mean, my stuff is doing about the same too. I watch some of it, but not as much anymore. It's all like streaming now.
I have been, I've been ripping mine because I own a physical copy, which illegally by U.S. law allows me to produce a copy for myself on a Plex server. So I'm basically making my own Netflix. So that's end up how I consume a lot of my DVDs now that I personally own is I'll put them on Plex server and then I'll watch it, on my phone when I'm in bed because that's the only time I get a chance to watch anything.
Yeah. There's certain things. It's funny. So, we're on Disney Plus and they have a lot of the classics. They have like the super cheesy old Star Wars movies from the 80s, which I loved as a kid. And I watched with my daughter and she was like, why are we watching this? Because Ewoks, that's why.
Battle of Endor is awesome.
Yeah. I know. Like, it's awesome. Giant claymation, whatever the monster was in the first one was hilarious.
The Rancor?
Was it a Rancor? I don't think it was. I think it was some kind of weird.
The monster that lives
thing.
I know which one.
No, not those Star Wars movies. The Caravan of Courage. But Sindel.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm being out-geeked here. So that's.
I know what she's talking about now.
Yeah, they're on Disney Plus.
They're on
The Ewok
Disney Plus?
cartoon is on there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like everything but the Christmas special. And actually, I think they have an animated version of the Christmas special. or
I have the
something.
Christmas special. Do you
Do
want
you?
it?
I've never seen it.
You're not missing much, to be honest.
No, that's what I've heard.
How
They don't have.
Come on, Jefferson Starship's in it. How bad can it
Jefferson
be?
Starship is awesome.
However, watching that special slightly intoxicated or heavily intoxicated actually sounds a lot of fun, to be completely honest.
That does sound fun. But no, so they have a lot of, goofy stuff like that. They have like all the Marvel movies except Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They have the Spider-Man cartoons, but they don't have any of the Spider-Man movies. I'm like, okay.
Oh, because Sony owns them all.
Yeah, which is weird because they have, I expected them to have the newer Spider-Man movies. Maybe not the Tobey Maguires, but the newer ones, and they don't. But they also don't have, like, I was looking for Thomasina. Do you remember the movie Thomasina? It's about a cat.
Sounds familiar.
And it comes back to life, I think. But I just remember loving that movie as a kid. And, like, they have all those other movies that are like that, like The Cat from Outer Space and, like, that kind of stuff. But they don't have Thomasina, which made me sad. And the other one that I wish they had that they don't have is The Watcher in the Woods, which is one of those weird, obscure Disney horror movies that no one's ever heard of. that my grandma had the video, and my sister and I used to watch it over and over and over again. So I rented it from Netflix. They actually had the DVD and watched it with Sienna, and now Sienna is always wanting to watch it too. So she keeps asking if it's on Disney Plus. I'm like, no, it's not, and it sucks because they have a lot of weird stuff on there. But they don't have that one.
The weirdest.
It's got Betty Davis in it. Like,
you know what's weird about that? They don't have that, yet they have Melody Time, which is an obscure thing from 1948 that my son actually really enjoys. Like we recently stopped subscribing to Disney Plus just to save costs, and I'm buying some of it because like he liked, and like they have that, but they don't have. Oh my God! I actually know what this is.
Yeah.
Wow, The Watcher in the Woods. 19.
And so what I found out when I ordered it, or when I watched the one on Netflix, and it got to the end and it was weird as hell. And I realized, I looked it up, it had an alternate ending. So the one on Netflix has the weird ass alternate ending. The one that we always watch, basically there's like the swap at the end and everything is good. We're back. We're happy. In the alternate end, you should really look it up. If you haven't, if you know the movie and you don't know how weird the ending is, look up The Watcher in the Woods alternate ending and don't do any drugs first. Do your drugs later. It is so bizarre. But it also explains what the Watcher is. Because that was one thing that I found from the movie, is that it never really got into what the Watcher really was.
So here's the
weird, man.
Here's the description. When a normal American family moves into a beautiful Old English house in a wooded area, strange paranormal appearances befall them in this interesting twist to a well-known haunted house tale. The daughter Jan sees and daughter Alice hears the voice of a young teenage girl who mysteriously disappeared during a total solar eclipse decades before. So here's the tags, by the way. This is on IMDb. They tag it as teenage girl, occult, female protagonist, haunted house, psychotronic film. Is the top?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I've seen this, but it's been. Matter of fact, this movie might have given me nightmares.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy, and we used to watch it all the time. And most people I know have never even heard of it. So I'm stoked that you've seen it. But look up the alternate ending because it's weird. It is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, I think.
This looks so familiar. I'm going to have to see if I can actually watch clips of it because the cast is interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a trip, that's for sure. I couldn't believe it. I got to the end. I'm like, I feel like I would have remembered this.
I
texted my sister and I was like, you got to watch this. And she was like, holy crap. That was not on our VHS tape. That's for sure. Or maybe it was and Grandma just didn't show us that version. I don't know.
Disney Plus is interesting. It's got to be a rights issue because Melody Time, for example, has like there's scene the painted desert. There's a scene in this cartoon with a painted desert and Indians are chasing after this person, and that's how the painted desert happens. So there's things that you would think that Disney would not include. And so it's got to be a rights issue because I don't see them because they're trying to put as much content on there as possible because they're not getting the subscribers they want, like the continuous growth.
I mean, if you're like me, you just piggyback off of other people. I'm splitting different streaming services with different people. Like Nicole pays for Disney Plus, I pay for Hulu, and we share as long as we're allowed to. I just stopped paying it. So like, well, I'll pay it this time around, and we'll just kind of flip flop. Because it's like you start paying for all of these ridiculous streaming services, and it just starts getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, have you watched the new Dexter yet? I'm like, I'm not paying for freaking Showtime just to watch one show. And because they're only releasing them one a week, you can't, do a free trial and binge it.
Yeah.
although you can through Dish anyways, they had the free preview weekend, and you can download on demand during the free preview weekend. So I have watched what's out so far, which is cool.
How is it? Good?
It's a lot slow starter.
Yeah.
Kind of like
show, kind of.
Yeah, I think it tracks. We only watched the first 3 episodes, but I have the other 2 on the DVR to watch tonight. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be good.
I want
to watch it, but I'm not like you said. I have HBO, Netflix, Disney, Prime, and I think that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to, because there's like a shit ton of streaming services still that I haven't even gotten to. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
And so Hulu has all of the like primetime shows. Dish right now doesn't even have ABC. Like they haven't had it for like a month. But all those shows are on Hulu.
Huh.
So,
because that makes sense.
And we have
Disney.
Discovery Plus. We got like a free year of Discovery Plus, which Dustin likes. And, I watch whatever the sitcoms are on Hulu, and there's a lot of old stuff on there too that you can watch.
Yeah.
And so, like we keep talking, we need to just get rid of Dish, because between Discovery Plus and Hulu, we've got everything there that we watch on TV through Dish. So there's no point in paying over $100 and whatever for Dish.
And you're already paying about that much on the streaming.
Yeah.
I'm see, at this point, all I do is watch like old TV shows. I wish somebody would just license all the old TV shows from like 1995 and back, and I'll just pay $30, $50 a month for that, because that's all I watch. Like,
so a lot of that stuff is on Hulu.
I'll have to take a look again.
There is really a lot of stuff on Hulu, a lot of the older stuff. There's not like, I was hoping like Growing Pains is on there, and it's not. They have the old Wonder Years, they have the new Wonder Years, they have I Love Lucy, they have a bunch of random stuff.
I've actually had to buy
watched
some
like
of it.
My Name is Earl, Sienna Love, My Name is Earl. That's always worth a rewatch.
Well, for example, like my favorite show right now is from like 1950, 1960 called Combat. Like my dad used to watch it as a kid, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I actually had to buy the DVD series and put it on my Plex server. So I watched that all the time, or Adam 12, or like all the TV shows I enjoy because they're kind of mindless.
Adam 12, I've seen Adam 12 on something. I wonder, it might have been a weird Dish channel, but it also might have been on Hulu.
It's on anytime there's a classic TV station. It's on that.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
That might have been where I saw it. There's this one channel on Dish that plays a lot of the older stuff. And it plays a lot of the same stuff that's on a lot of other channels too. But the formatting of the screen is so jacked up that it is impossible to watch it.
Have you checked out?
Like they've taken stuff that was made for widescreen and made it square. Oh. So it's all stretched out and like takes up, the middle part of your screen. It's like, why? Why did you do this?
Have you watched Pluto TV? I also watch a lot of that.
No.
Pluto's cool. It's just there's oddly enough, I watched hours of the My Tiny House TV shows, because there's like a tiny house TV, and being a guy who's a drafter, I really love that. So I've literally sat down all day and watched people build tiny homes, which is ridiculous as a guy who's 6'5". Wow, that's kind of an embarrassing pause break. Wow. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, we are having an interesting time here. I don't know if this show is going to make it. So, hold on, Bree, are you there? Hold on. Okay, hold on. This show may not make it to air, because it's been interesting. Hold on one second. Usually I can fill up a lot of dead airspace, but it has not been. There you go. Hold on one second. Wow, this show has been, I might keep it on just for laughs. This show's been horrible. Technology-wise.
You had a good run for a while there. It was going all right.
Yeah, on my end for James, I heard every fifth word. It was like, and the movie book sucked. It's like, what? Wait, I missed something there.
You miss a lot of things, John.
Well, I am hard of hearing. I can't exactly help it. I blame.
Go see Nicole. Get some miracle ear.
Seriously, I blame the band council, even though technically I had issues beforehand. But I'm blaming it on falling asleep
I
next
used
to
to
them.
stand right in front of the speakers at those shows, and my hearing is fine, so you don't get to blame them.
I fell asleep next to one. I literally woke up however long later, and everybody sounded like the parents from the Peanuts. Like, wah, wah. It's like, whoa.
Nice.
Well,
yeah, no, I used to stand right up at the speakers at those shows. For some reason, I would die now. I won't even go to a concert unless they have seats.
It's funny. I was thinking about that. It's like, as I remember when I was a kid, I loved getting pit tickets. It was nothing about being in the pit, but it was the best place to hear the music. And now I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I could stand for 2 hours without being in pain.
Seriously, there's all these good punk bands and stuff that I'd love to go see, but they only play festivals. I'm like, no, I need to sit down.
Yeah.
Park my butt, drink my drink, not get jostled, not get things spilled on me, not get sweat on. No, I don't know.
It's funny. And in a few more years, we're all going to be passing hits of Metamucil watching our next concert together.
Hell yeah. That's all right. I'm still younger than both of you. So.
Well, James, this is true. James is the next oldest. He's soon going to be over the hill.
Yep.
No. I'm only 32.
Well, fuck, that's a hard 32.
Shut up. Hey, both of you shut up.
If you're 32, you had a lot of fun.
Hey, I couldn't walk when I was 32, but now I can, It only took a few months.
It's like that Bill Engvall joke. He talks about he doesn't want to look good when he dies. He wants people to open the casket and go, Jesus. James is close.
Yeah, that's all right. I keep saying I'm going to get fat, but it's not happening yet. But I think if I got fat, I wouldn't be able to walk because my knees are really bad.
Yeah, probably not.
I gained 5 pounds. I'm like, oh no, there go my knees.
That's funny. You talk about that. I lost 50 pounds. Man, my knees don't hurt as much as they used to.
It's amazing how much of a difference it makes, really.
I still have no energy, but now I'm not in pain. So I can lay down and sleep.
That's nice. Laying down sounds nice. Well, I lay down, but sleeping without being in pain sounds nice. I can only sleep on one side. My shoulder that I had surgery on still hurts if I sleep on it. So I'm stuck on my one side. So then my neck hurts. But also my back is so jacked up. If Dustin puts his hand on my side, it seriously feels like somebody's squishing me. It's like being compressed. And there's not enough weight in his one hand to cause that. It's the weirdest feeling. But, being old, it is what it is, I guess.
I just think it's funny after all the years I made fun of my dad and his friends about being over the hill and I'm the same fucking age and having the same goddamn problems. It's what happened to me? I used to be relatively pain-free.
Oh.
Now I get up and
I've ever been pain-free.
I have, but now it sounds like the Battle of Dunkirk, just standing up.
Oh, snaps and crackles.
Oh
my poor kid is well on her way. She doesn't have pain issues so much, but she pops like a box of Rice Krispies. Oh, that's my kid with those joints. She's going to have the same joint problems. I mean, my knees were already hurting when I was her age. And it's loose joints, tight muscles. That's what, going to physical therapy. They're well, your range of motion is so extreme. It's going to take a while to get back there. But then, my muscles are so tight that, they don't allow that, actual flexibility. It's the weirdest, freaking freakiest thing. And it's such a pain in the butt. Can we just not?
We have similar issues. I have I'm incredibly flexible, but certain parts, because my joints are loose, but my muscles are constantly tense because I'm stressed and then my ligaments are loose.
Yeah, so I feel honestly, it's the only reason that things aren't dislocating on me all the time. My mom and my sister both have a knee that'll pop out. I've never had anything like that. And honestly, I think it's because all of my muscles in my entire body are so tight all the time and nothing moves.
Hey, that's convenient. It's
I know, like, count my blessings, I guess.
It's like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. The reason he hasn't died yet is all the diseases are fighting to get through the door together. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming up to an end of this glitch-filled episode. So, I got one more ad for y'all.
Okay.
Do you want to keep up to date on the maddest of the mad at the MadTrio podcast? Check out our social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or go to themadtrio.com. And to quote Ryan, it's kind of laughable, but that I say we're the maddest of the mad when we're all kind of maybe a slow simmer. If you really want to hear us mad, there are a couple of topics I could bring up. But so
yeah, we didn't get any of those.
There were a couple I wanted to talk to about, and I just like, as soon as I got here, I'm like, I just don't know have the energy to talk about COVID.
Yeah, seems to be, it's kind of nice having a COVID-free conversation. Honestly, it doesn't happen very often anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's everywhere. I'm going to the grocery store. Oh, there's a new COVID. And then you hear somebody talk about presidential politics, and here it's like, when I was a kid, this never happened. Nobody ever talked politics out in the open.
Dude, people used to get mad if you asked them about politics. Like, you asked your parents who you voted for. That's none of your business. And now they won't shut up about it.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Can we go back to where that was none of my business?
I'm going to start talking to about theology to some of these people, because if they're going to talk about their bad policies, I'm going to talk about theology.
Yeah.
Which apparently is TikTok. I don't know if y'all have checked out TikTok, but it's hilarious.
I will not get on TikTok.
So
TikTok is
No. I ignore TikTok.
I've spent a ridiculous amount of time on TikTok because I find it hilarious, and it's like being in high school but not being stuck in any of the drama. It's hilarious because you're watching
I get
people
TikTok
fight.
videos sent to me pretty regularly from a couple people that are on it all the time, and that's the extent of my TikTok knowledge.
Once in a while,
I deal with kids all the time. Like, I'm in school all day. I had a kid in high school. Like, I hear about all this crap that's on TikTok, and it's just ridiculous. It's a waste of time. It's, damaging to the psyche of millions of children worldwide. Like, put tearing shit apart in your schools.
You know what the most amazing thing about TikTok? Like, it's all guy. It's all like adult guys and adult women. And it's weird to me that I'm watching, like, there's some cool DIY stuff, but it's just a bunch of adults bitching. And then you get the random gay and then trans person. It's just like, really, it's like YouTube, but in a minute and a half.
Well, yeah, but so here's the thing is it's going to target your preferences. So the more you watch old people bitching, the more videos of old people bitching are going to get sent your way.
Really?
There's a lot of other stuff on there. That's just not what you're looking at.
Huh. I'm going to have to find something other than the old people bitching. However, there's this really awesome autistic chick who's probably the most wholesome thing I've actually watched in 20 years is watching her channel, page, whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then TikTok banned her. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
Social media sucks. If it wasn't for the show and some of the other stuff I do, I probably, and staying in contact with friends, I probably wouldn't be on social media.
I think if I didn't live so far away from everybody, I wouldn't be on it so much either.
See, right now you don't live far away from me. You should need us just to stop by, but I'm not quite sure if I'm the person you want to see most of the time.
You are not in stop-by range. You are definitely closer than others, but the route that it takes to get to you...
You're not around the corner for her job.
No. The only time you're ever on my way anywhere is if I'm going to Placerville, and then I'm on a mission because it takes me over an hour to get there.
Well, I'm on your way to the visit range more than James.
Yeah.
True.
You couldn't go visit James unless you really needed to.
But see, the nice thing about where James is living is for a while I could kill 3 birds with one stone.
True. Now it's just
and go
2.
visit all of you guys. And now, I mean, is Jeremy ever even home? Or when he is home, is he, not
He's hiding in his
poking
room.
the bear or whatever?
Yeah.
So, yeah, now you guys are out there. I'm really missing my D&D game since Don's gone off the radar.
Yeah, he has.
Radio silence. Like, okay.
So I actually talk about D&D, and we're actually over time, but I actually found a D&D style game on on my Oculus Quest, and I've actually been playing that a lot.
That's cool.
So it's
there's a Skyrim one too.
I don't know. See, like there's even a Resident Evil, and there's only so much I can take without having to need a bucket near me. Because my wife bought a roller coaster game, which I'd love to get a bunch of people to try, because the moment I try it, I instantly need to stop. But,
yeah, that sounds bad to me. I get nauseous super easily nowadays. Like vertigo, really, like all of a sudden too. I've never used to have that issue, but in the last couple of years, it's gotten really bad.
Oh my God.
I'm afraid.
Like boats. Huh? I went on this mystery dinner on the Delta King or Delta Queen, whatever it is, in Sacramento.
Mystery dinner?
What's that?
I want to go to a mystery dinner. That sounds awesome.
Oh, it was. I've always wanted to do one. It's on the.
I've always wanted to do one too, but I've never had anybody who wants to go with me.
Oh, see, like my Laura wanted to go, and so I saw this. Like, let's do this. This sounds fun, and it was an absolute blast. But for like a day and a half later, I felt like I was on a boat, but I want to do it again. It was a lot of fun. I just got to take Dramamine.
Dude, Dramamine knocks me out. Like I totally get motion sick, but I cannot take that stuff, or I will just fall asleep.
Oh, that's
like we went on like a whale watching thing out on Catalina, and I was fine. But we went out on like one of the boats up in Tahoe, and I was like, ugh. So it's really hit and miss. I mean, I'll totally get car sick. I don't throw up. I just get nauseous, and then I get a migraine, which sucks because then I'm like down for the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so it's just really hit and miss. But I don't know what to do. I just kind of try and pick my battles. Although, like, I went on, Megan and I went to Disneyland. We went to California Adventure, and I remember going on the Tower of Terror before, and I was so nauseous. And I went on it this time, and I was fine.
Huh.
Yeah. Man, I go on elevators, and I can feel it like 20 minutes after. It's like, what happened to me? Nothing used to faze me. Now I'm an old guy who's falling apart, who pays way too close attention to politics. It's like, this is not fair.
Yeah. Dude, you might just have an inner ear thing, honestly. If you can't hear and you're getting nauseous that easily, you should go get your ears checked. Because that'll mess you up.
Yeah, probably should. Oh, cool. I'm going to forward you the dinner thing I went to, Bree.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because I want to go again. It was a lot of fun. Besides the fact downtown Sac is a absolute dumpster fire.
Nightmare. Yeah, that is true.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for the California Pariah, the America Original, Heather Charney, Bree, and James, as always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye. Adios.